Good evening. Police leading the manhunt for sex offender Hadush Kabatu have directly appealed to him to hand himself in. Today, Sky News heard more detail about the chaotic moments after he was accidentally released. A witness told our national correspondent, Tom Parmenter, that the Ethiopian national was outside the prison for at least 90 minutes and repeatedly asked prison officers for directions. Here's Tom's report.
In this city of 9 million people, one man is now wanted more than any other. Hadush Kabatu is still at large. The asylum seeker, whose crimes provoked a wave of protests in Epping, disappeared after an inexplicable mistake at Chelmsford Prison. He should have been transferred into custody, ready for deportation to Ethiopia. Instead, they just let him out.
My lorry was parked out the front here.
This man was delivering equipment to Chelmsford Prison at exactly the same time. Sim told me that Kabatu wasn't in a hurry to get away. Far from it.
So he'd come over to me and said, "I need you to help me, I need you to help me." His English was pretty good, to be honest with you. He was basically asking me to help, and I said, "I'm sorry, what can I do? I don't know where to go, I don't know where to go." And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'm just making a delivery here." And he said, I've been deported. So it wasn't a case of he's released and he's disappeared and ran off. He was standing around the prison trying to work out where he needed to go for maybe an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer.
And this is what you had on the dashboard yesterday? This is from the prison?
Eventually, he saw someone working at the prison who directed the offender away.
Somebody directed him to the train station and said he had to get on a train to go to this place. And I overheard that conversation because they say it was out in the open at the front of the prison. He was very confused, very, very confused. He kept scratching his head and saying, "Oh, where do I go? Where do I go?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'm just here to do a delivery."
Essex police say he got on a train at Chelmsford that was heading to London at 12:41 on Friday afternoon. The Greater Anglia train stopped at Shenfield in Essex at 12:51. It then arrived at Stratford in East London at 12 minutes past 1. And this is where the police say Kabatu disembarked, at one of the busiest transport hubs in the capital. It's almost impossible to avoid the hundreds of CCTV cameras here. And by examining the footage, the police have been able to establish that he then took a number of other train journeys across London, and that he does have money with him. Officers want this manhunt to end peacefully.
I'm also making a direct appeal to Mr. Kabatu himself. We want to locate you in a safe and controlled way. The best outcome for you is to make contact directly with us by either calling 999 or reporting yourself to a police station.
The public is urged to call 101 if they see him. It's embarrassing and infuriating for all involved. The Deputy Prime Minister said the government is appalled and livid about what's happened. But it's most traumatic for Kabatu's victim, the schoolgirl who he sexually assaulted in Epping. It is yet another example of a criminal justice system that's failing too many people, with sometimes unbelievable consequences. Tom Parmenter, Sky News, East London.
Well, Sky's chief political correspondent John Craig is in Westminster for us tonight. But first, let's go to Sky's Emma Birchley, who's outside New Scotland Yard. And Emma, what's the latest tonight?
Well, this enormous manhunt is underway, and what is quite clear is that Kabatu is not keeping a low profile, and that was the case when he was in Chelmsford yesterday talking to members of the public, and also after arriving at London Stratford station, this hugely busy transport hub, early on Friday afternoon. He has been speaking to members of the public. He has been speaking to station staff. He has been spotted taking a number of journeys across the capital, and what we know is that he has funds to do so, because on his release release from Chelmsford Prison, he would have been given a £76 discharge grant. Whether he has any other money, we are not sure at this stage, but certainly it has enabled him to travel around buying train tickets. And so police very clear that he should hand himself in, whether that's going to a police station, whether it is calling 999, but he should do that in a safe and controlled manner. And we also know that police are intending to release some CCTV footage. They are urging the public to look at those images, and if they think that they have seen him, to get in touch, or for that matter anyone who has spoken to Kibatu over the last day and a half, to get in touch with them so that they can get him back in custody.
Emma, thanks very much for that. Just some breaking news coming into us via the Met Police, and they say that we can continue to carry out extensive inquiries as the manhunt for Hadush Kibatu continues. Officers have now confirmed that he was last seen shortly before 8 p.m. on Friday evening in the Dalston area of Hackney. He was still wearing his prison-issue grey tracksuit top and bottoms, but is now carrying his belongings in a distinctive white bag with pictures of avocados on it. Additional officers have been deployed to the area to carry out further searches, but we are appealing for the help of local residents to report any sightings as soon as possible. Anyone who sees Kibatu should call 999 immediately. So that the very latest from the Met Police. John, this whole situation extremely embarrassing for the government, and the Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy has ordered an independent investigation, we understand.
Faced with an increasingly furious and growing political storm over this blunder, the Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary David Lammy has ordered his officials to draw up the terms of an independent investigation into what he's calling this appalling error and identify candidates to lead it. Now, secondly, the Prison Service has introduced new and mandatory procedures for prison releases. The duty governor, that's the person responsible for the daily secure operation of the prison, will be required to complete additional checks the evening before a release, and governors will need to provide assurance that the procedure is in place on Monday. And thirdly, we already know that an officer has been suspended pending an investigation. Those measures will not do anything to calm the protests or help the government get off the hook on this, because the row is really intensifying. Now, the Liberal Democrat MP for Chelmsford, that's Marie Goldman, has told Sky News, she says there's got to be a national inquiry here. She says there's a lot of fear in Chelmsford. She says locals are fed up, and she's calling on the government to get a grip, as she puts it. Kemi Badenoch has said that this shows a level of incompetence that beggars belief. The whole system is collapsing under Labour. Nigel Farage says it shows that Britain is broken. Robert Jenrick is saying that it's outrageous that the victims have been failed in this way, and it's a national embarrassment. And so there is a huge row over this. Mr Lammy, or one of his justice ministers, will undoubtedly be hauled before the House of Commons on Monday to explain what's gone wrong. This comes as the government and opposition are already arguing about sentencing. Now, the government's sentencing bill was in the House of Commons earlier this week, and the Tories voted to overturn what they claim are plans by the government in that bill to let thousands of rapists and paedophiles out early. Now, so this was already a sensitive issue before this dreadful error happened. But clearly the government is feeling the heat on this, and of course the pressure and the criticism will grow even louder and stronger the longer this man is still at large.
Thank you very much for the moment. Just to update on that breaking news, officers have now confirmed that Hadush Kibatu was last seen shortly before 8 p.m. on Friday evening in the Dalston area of Hackney. He was still wearing his prison-issue grey tracksuit top and bottoms, but is now carrying his belongings in a distinctive white bag with pictures of avocados on it. Additional officers have been deployed to the area to carry out further searches, but police are appealing for the help of local residents to report any sightings as soon as possible, and anyone who sees Kibatu should call 999 immediately. Lucy Powell is the Labour Party's new deputy leader. She defeated the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, to take the key role. It follows the resignation of Angela Rayner after she admitted underpaying stamp duty on a flat she purchased in Hove. Our political editor, Beth Rigby, reports.
These two women vying to be the next deputy Labour leader. How are you feeling? Do you think you've nailed it? Arriving at party HQ to find out their fate. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? The PM perhaps knowing it wasn't going to go his way.
Lucy Powell has been elected as deputy leader of the Labour Party. A huge congratulations to Lucy.
This quite the comeback for a politician sacked from Starmer's cabinet but weeks ago. Powell beating the Prime Minister's ally, Bridget Phillipson, with her promise to be the voice of party members and kickstart Labour's campaign machine.
We are now in the fight of our lives, and we really are. Not for ourselves and our fortunes, but for the future of the country and democracy.
After the sackings and campaign smears, these politicians putting on a show of unity in the wake of this week's disastrous by-election defeat in Caerphilly.
Lucy has always been a proud defender of Labour values, and that is exactly what we need at this moment. This week we received another reminder of just how urgent that task is. A bad result in Wales. I accept that. But a reminder that people need to look out their window and see change and renewal in their community.
And the defeated candidate putting on a brave face. You're smiling, but you must be disappointed because you lost.
Of course I'm disappointed to lose, but I want to congratulate Lucy. She ran a good campaign. She has my full support. What we all need to do now is unite as a party, beat reform and secure that second-term Labour government.
The new deputy leader straight to work. Keir Starmer, what's going to be your relationship with him? Are you a critical friend? Are you a supportive friend? Are you a frenemy? Are you an enemy? What are you with him?
I'm his deputy.
Are you his critical friend?
I'm his deputy. I'm the party's deputy. I'm his friend, a colleague. We've known each other for a long time, and I'm really confident that we can work well together.
What is the first thing that you are going to do as deputy leader to show the party that you will be their voice around the top of government and the cabinet table? Is it the two-child benefit cap? What's the thing?
They will see me do that every day. I'm out here today campaigning, knocking on doors. I'm not here to write an alternative policy platform. What I am here to do is make sure that our Labour values, our Labour beliefs are right at the heart of the conversation.
Lucy Powell was not the Prime Minister's choice, but her campaign to be the voice of the membership paid off at a time when there is big disillusionment and tension between the leadership and party members. So she comes in with her own autonomy and influence. And for now, Lucy Powell is pledging to be an ally of Starmer, but she does have her own power base, and that could prove unpredictable and tricky.
I think there is a need for someone who isn't in the cabinet to represent the members and the backbench MPs.
We are one party and we are united, and our job is to get that message out to Britain and win the next election.
Look at the members that she's brought out today. She's bringing real energy.
The party now has a new campaigner-in-chief as it faces a difficult set of elections next May. They might be smiling now, but others at the top of the party are likely feeling a little less sure. Beth Rigby, Sky News, London.
In Ireland, there's been a landslide victory for a left-wing independent candidate in the presidential election. Catherine Connolly was declared the winner with 63% of the vote. From Dublin, our Ireland correspondent Stephen Murphy reports.
Ireland's next president arrives at Dublin Castle after a landslide victory. Catherine Connolly will be the country's 10th president, the third woman to occupy the office.
I will be an inclusive president to listen to all of you. I will be making no distinction on the basis of votes.
In a two-horse race, Catherine Connolly saw off the challenge of a former cabinet minister, Fine Gael's Heather Humphreys, who conceded a defeat that was inevitable from the first opening of the ballot boxes.
It is strong, isn't it?
Lovely.
Catherine Connolly is a 68-year-old barrister and independent politician from Galway, a Liberal who united the left. She won many young voters through savvy social media use, revealing her keepy-uppy skills, hustle on the basketball court, and that she owns two cats, Cat 1 and Cat 2. Celebrity endorsers include the controversial rap group Kneecap. But this was an election that failed to ignite. There was no mic drop moment. Many voters were unhappy at the unusually small field of candidates in this election, leading to an extremely low turnout and an unprecedented number of spoiled ballots.
Simply because none of the above. They wanted to reject the candidates on the paper and they would have liked a wider choice. And it was a protest vote.
Anti-government mood?
Yes, very much so.
In many ways, this was an election as much about those who didn't run. Potential contenders like Conor McGregor, Bob Geldof and Michael Flatley all failing to get on the ballot. With Fianna Fáil's candidate Jim Gavin dropping out, Fine Gael's candidate roundly defeated, it's been a humbling result for the Irish government.
I hereby declare Catherine Connolly elected to the office of President of Ireland.
That won't bother Catherine Connolly one bit, as she prepares to take the highest office in the land, albeit one that is largely ceremonial in nature. Stephen Murphy, Sky News in Dublin.
Donald Trump has said he does not plan to meet with Vladimir Putin until he thinks a deal is in place to secure peace between Russia and Ukraine. The US president hit Russia's two biggest oil companies with sanctions early this week to press the Kremlin leader to end Moscow's war in Ukraine. Trump made the comments as he headed to Asia for the first time this term.
I'm going to have to know that we're going to make a deal. I'm not going to be wasting my time. I've always had a great relationship with Vladimir Putin, but this has been very disappointing. I thought this would have gone long before peace in the Middle East. I mean, we have Azerbaijan and Armenia. That was very tough. In fact, Putin told me on the phone, he said, boy, that was amazing, because everybody tried to get that done and they couldn't. I got it done. You had others that, if you look at India and Pakistan, I could say almost any one of the deals that I've already done, I thought would have been more difficult than Russia and Ukraine.
Well, staying with Donald Trump, the US president stopped off in Qatar en route to the ASEAN summit in Malaysia. Both Qatar's Prime Minister and the Qatari Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, joined Trump aboard Air Force One during the refuelling stop. The US president praised their combined efforts to bring peace to the Middle East and said Qatar would send peacekeeping troops if needed.
And these are two great men, and as long as we're together and you have those cameras rolling, I want to just say we express our thanks, and you have a safe Middle East right now, and you're going to keep it that way for a long time. For a very long time.
We're returning to our top story now. I just want to bring you some pictures of fugitive Hadush Kabatu. This is him in Chelmsford. These were the first pictures that we saw shortly after he was released from prison. And as we've been reporting, police have confirmed that he was last seen shortly before 8 p.m. on Friday evening in the Dalston area of Hackney. And these are the pictures that you are seeing now. As you can see, he was still wearing his prison-issue grey tracksuit top and bottoms, but is now carrying his belongings in a distinctive white bag with pictures of avocados on it. Another photo, as you've just seen, showed him in Chelmsford wearing that same grey tracksuit. Well, let's speak now to Emma Birchley, who's at Scotland Yard for us this evening. This information coming in just a short time ago. So the last spotting confirmed in Dalston in Hackney, Emma.
Yes, certainly pinpointing Kabatu's location on Friday evening at 8 p.m. Gone was the clear plastic bag that he'd left prison carrying when he was in that prison-issue grey tracksuit with all his belongings in that clear bin bag. Now they have been moved into what looks like a kind of shopping bag, that white bag with the handles and the avocados on them, described by the police as distinctive, certainly a bit incongruous, I would say. And so that was 8 p.m. in Dalston in Hackney, which is about 3-4 miles west of Stratford, where Kibatu had arrived in the capital early on Friday afternoon, spotted making various journeys around London, having various conversations with members of the public and also station staff. Hardly a man appearing to want to fly under the radar. And now police making it clear that they would like the public to look closely at these images and to get in touch urgently, to call 999 if they think that they have spotted him.
Emma, thank you very much for that update. The government is being urged to make fast changes to the water industry or risk a 5 billion litres a year shortage by 2050. The Environment Agency says it was the driest start to a year since 1976, with reservoirs across England standing at just over half full. Our Midlands correspondent Lisa Dowd reports.
We have got a big problem.
And it affects every single one of us. This rainy place that we call home is running low on water. There's already a tide of anger over the state of our seas and rivers. But this is about the water we all drink and use every single day.
Here's the sort of front door.
Up until 1976, this is where Tim lived. His bungalow was knocked down to make way for the reservoir nearly 50 years ago. And here are the foundations, visible again, after one of the driest summers on record.
Where would the water normally be then?
Above your head for certain, so not there, but probably way up there, and at top waterline, at least probably half a metre above me as well. So this is very, very different, very unique, and it's very worrying.
So what's been going on? Summer 2025 was the UK's warmest on record, with August especially dry. We had just 62% of our usual rainfall. On top of that, so much water is lost through leaks, around 2,690 megalitres every day in England. That's enough to fill well over 1,000 Olympic swimming pools. Put it all together and England is facing a big problem. By 2050, we could be looking at a shortfall in our water supply of 5 billion litres every day.
I hope that we're going to pull our socks up on this issue. And
people who study water, like Hannah, think this year should be a wake-up call for all of us.
It is all of our fault. We have not been paying attention to what's going on.
Could you see a situation where we actually run out of drinking water?
I think that we do need to worry about the fact that there is this possibility we could run out. And it's only if we start thinking like that that we're going to start conserving our water.
So what are we doing as a country to sort this out? The government insist they're taking decisive action by fast-tracking new reservoirs like this one near Portsmouth. A spokesperson told us we're delivering over £104 billion of private investment to fix leaking pipes, build 9 new reservoirs and secure our water supply for the future. But reservoirs take years to build, then years to fill up.
So what of the water companies? Well, I've come back to Rutland to meet with Anglian Water. They're building new reservoirs and asking customers to cut back. You're in a difficult position really as a water company, aren't you? Because what you're selling is water. So do you really want people to be using less of it?
Well, it's about using it carefully. We don't want to stop people using water. It is absolutely essential for everything that we need it to do. But I think we've got to a point now where we have to realise that water is a precious resource. It's something that we all have to look after. But we know that in future, with the kind of patterns of climate change and drought that we're going to expect, that we will need more reservoirs like Rutland.
It's going to take a lot to refill the reservoirs that we have. But our problem with water runs deep. Solving it will take more than a few rainy days. Lisa Dowd, Sky News.
Time now to catch up on all of the latest sports news with Gavin.
Staying connected is vital for business. Sky Business sponsors this report.
Okay. Are you ready? Yep.
35 prisoners were released from Barlini prison this morning, but only one left in a limousine.
Duncan spoke about the letters he's had when he was in prison, and that created a bond between Duncan and Everton.
It's not just words. I love them, and I'll always love them.
It's the story which has gripped Merseyside. Walter Smith's future on the line. The Everton boss apparently close to quitting over the multi-million-pound sale of captain Duncan Ferguson to Newcastle.
We were under pressure from the bank to get the overdraft down.
It upset me. You try to move on. It's not easy for me. I couldn't rub off my tattoo, could I?
The fans adore him. Then all of a sudden, crash bang walla, he's playing with the striped shirt on.
A fan had came into the training ground, burst into reception, sat herself on a seat and refused to move until Duncan Ferguson was re-signed.
It was a bit of a shock once your club doesn't want you. Really, it's inevitable. You've got to move, haven't you?
What's signing for Rangers, Duncan?
It's brilliant.
Duncan.
I knew that when I signed for Rangers, that was explained to me that really it probably was a year too early for me. But because I was wanting to move away from Dundee United, Walter decided to sign me probably a year too early. He wanted to sign me really a year later. It was a bit early for me to break in.
Probably the best kid in Scotland at the time now. He broke into Dundee United team very early, established himself. The Walt was building for the future and building that team, and Duncan was the ideal the prospect to get.
I mean, they were the best in the country. Two great strikers, Mark, big target man, and Ali, you know, the smaller guy picking up the second ball and scoring all the goals. I mean, Mark chipped him a hell of a lot of goals as well. So it was very difficult for me to break into the team.
But certainly now Duncan found himself restricted in playing the position he wanted to play. And he found himself now playing different positions, wide and right, wide and left, which didn't really suit him.
It didn't quite work out for me. Injuries as well played a part, which played a part really through my career. Nothing was inevitable, but you know, in the back of your mind, you're thinking you maybe have to move on. You know, I see myself as a quiet guy. Never went looking for confrontation at all. Of course, there's another little bit of side to me, wasn't there, off the field as well. Just as long as you don't break into my house, you're all right.
Nervous, Duncan. What do you think about the prospect of winning today?
When the incident just happened, I didn't think anything was going to happen, but of course then I heard the noise after again, so I knew something was up then. They obviously knew I was on probation, and if I got another offence against me, there was a chance of me going to prison.
Duncan being Duncan just got on with it.
Well, we were struggling at the time. Mike Walker was the manager. We were looking to get hold of one or two players. We heard that Trevor Stephen was leaving Rangers. And of course, Trevor was with us in the 80s through brilliant years. So we arranged to go up to see David Murray at Rangers. He said, if you want to talk to Trevor, he's actually doing laps around the track. He said, then you can go and chat to him and then come back here. So Peter Johnson and I, owner chairman at the time, he and I went down to see Trevor, had a chat with him, said, we'd like to take you back to Goodison. He said, there's nothing I would.
Sky Business sponsors this report.
Well, that was Sky News at 10. Coming up, we'll take a first look at tomorrow's newspapers in the press preview. When we come back, I'll be joined by journalist and author Christina Patterson and former Conservative Special Advisor Anita Boateng. Amongst the stories we'll be discussing, this on the front of the Sunday Telegraph. Their headline, Starmer told to bin workers' rights. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.